Illinois is failing children of color. We're getting a new look at how kids in Illinois and across the country are faring in the new Race for Results report from the Annie E. Casey Foundation. That report found in Illinois, children of color face several inequities. Caitlin Jones is the Vice President of Policy, Research and Evaluation at YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. Joins us now to talk about it. Thank you so much for being here. This is such an important topic.
Thanks for having me, Dina.
I know your organization is devoted to children, especially boosting those in those challenged economic and social situations. So when you hear our state is not doing well in this quest, what goes through your mind?
Well, the first thing that goes through my mind is that we need all children across racial and ethnic groups to have the resources they need to thrive. And it's not only for those children, but it's also for the well-being of our state. So that we can be as prosperous as possible in Illinois. So it's the first thing I think of. The second thing I think of course, is, what are the key areas where we're seeing these disparities? And I think in this report, one of the most interesting areas is with respect to reading proficiency levels, where we see children of color in Illinois especially struggling with only one in three fourth grade students scoring at or above the proficiency level.
I think those numbers are pretty alarming. Now, of course, reading is just one measure. In this analysis, what do you think is really the greatest deficit, the thing that we should focus on right now?
Well, the reality is we need to focus on everything because it's more than, just reading levels. It's more than poverty. It's also how neighborhoods are doing, how they're faring, what kind of healthcare resources are available to parents, how their economic security is. I think the real thing this report underscores is the need to design and evaluate policies with special attention to the needs of these groups. Universal policies are great, but we actually need targeted policies to address the disparities that we're seeing across racial and ethnic groups in Illinois and the country more broadly.
You talk about healthcare in pandemic and beyond. It's really been an issue, and that impact lasts perhaps for decades, setting people up for poor health outcomes as adults.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of these scores. So that's why I think, for example, like the reading indicator that I pointed to is so interesting to think about, because that is an indicator for how children are going to do as adults in terms of whether they'll graduate from high school, whether they'll enroll in college, what kind of financial security they'll have. And so we see these things from a very early age having a tremendous impact on people's lives and their economic security through adulthood, which is why it's really important that we start to and pay more attention to these kind of very early childhood issues that this report is highlighting.
And you talk about economic and financial security. Poverty really is a huge issue. No easy answer for easing it. Where do you suggest we begin? Not necessarily looking to the federal government, but right here in our own state.
Yeah, so in looking at, Illinois has already done a pretty good job. We have an earned income tax credit, which is great, and we expanded it in the last year, which is also wonderful, and putting more money in the hands of people who really need it. I think the other thing Illinois can look to do is enact a state level child tax credit to give, again, more money to those families that really need it. We know families use that money to pay for food, to pay for diapers, to pay for necessary medical expenses, to pay off debt. And when families are able to do that, they're able to ultimately thrive and pay more attention to what they need to do to achieve their goals and take care of their families as best they can.
Can we talk about this from a family perspective right now? What milestones should we be focused on as parents, in school, really as a community?
Yeah, so that reading milestone is a really important one that I underscored. So it's like children in fourth grade, because that is such a big indicator for how children are going to do later in life. So that's important. I think the other thing to think about is early childhood education. So thinking about student enrollment in preschool, in kindergarten, because those are like enrollment in those levels of school dropped during the pandemic and haven't gone back up. So making sure that you're taking advantage of the resources available in your community. I think with the Smart Start Illinois policy that Pritzker's administration has been leading, we're going to see more of those opportunities available. So making sure that parents are taking advantage of those early childhood education opportunities.
That's so important. Thank you, Caitlin Jones. And we'll share a link to this report on our website, WGNTV.com.